Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Twitch streamer RADStreams coming at you with another video. Today's video I'm going to be creating a top-down webcam mount for an event that I'm doing on Sunday, which I will be live streaming. On Sunday, I'm going to be getting with fellow Twitch streamer EmilyH22. We're going to be rebuilding her friend's computer from the ground up so that he has a Twitch stream worthy gaming machine that he can play CSGO with. It's going to be awesome, so tune in on Sunday. Today's video we're going to be making a mount specifically for this camera. It's a Microsoft LifeCam Studio. It does 1080p. I actually traded another streamer one of my several Logitech C920 cameras. I'm actually using one of these right now to record this. So why am I using a Microsoft camera instead of the many C920s? It's because the drivers don't really address multiple cameras very well when you're on the same machine. You actually have to use a secondary device like a Raspberry Pi or even a second computer in order to use that as a camera server, and it's not very efficient. So I just thought it would be easier to get a second camera that was a different type that I could use as a secondary. Also, why am I creating the mount? I'm going to, I want to have two different views. I want to have the view where you can see all of us while we're walking around and being frustrated, and then I also want you to be able to see inside the computer so that you can see everything that we're doing. Also, this mount will be vertically adjustable, so when I DJ my streams, when I stream my DJ sets, there we go, I will be able to show you my deck along with my face, two different camera angles, so that's going to be pretty cool as well. But I looked around on the internet and there wasn't really an easy to follow method, or even a forum post that gave a lot of information about how people were getting their cameras to be facing completely downward while not taking up too much space. So with this, we're going to be using a stand that's used for trussing. We're going to be using a piece of PVC pipe, a T-joint, we're going to be using an adapter, and we're going to be using a Dremel and some screws. It shouldn't take us too long. Of course, this video is going to be time-lapsed. Let's see how fast I can get it done. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put this adapter into the T-joint, but you're going to find that it doesn't really fit. So you can try to mash it in, it's not going to work. So you're going to need to pry apart the T-joint just a little bit, and it should be designed to do this. It should be designed to separate. So you're going to pry it apart, and then you should be able to slap it in there without any problems. So the idea here is that the T-joint will sit on the top of the truss stand, and you'll slide the PVC bar up through the adapter that we just added, and that will create enough tension on the PVC pipe that it doesn't slide around, it doesn't move, it doesn't spin. So you'll want to test fit this to make sure that you've got all the right stuff. And then once you've confirmed that everything fits into place, it's as easy as snapping it all together. So at this point, you're going to want to try to slide the PVC pipe into the adapter, and you'll see the next problem we're going to have to overcome, which is that the PVC pipe and the adapter are such a tight fit that you can't really slide it through, unlike the other side where you can easily stick the PVC pipe into the other side of the T-joint because there's just way too much space. So for this next step, what we're actually going to have to do is we're going to take our Dremel and we're going to shave down the inside of the adapter. In order to do this, I am going to take the adapter out of the T-joint even though it's already in there, and then once I've taken it out, I'm going to sand it down using my Dremel tool, and I'll show you how that's done. Right now I'm loading the proper tip into my Dremel so that I can shave it down easily. You could do this with a metal file, you could also do it with sandpaper. But it would take a lot of time. I think it's a huge waste of time to try to do it that way. Some of you that may not have a Dremel and probably don't want to buy one or can't afford one can do it using a metal file or some extremely rough grit sandpaper. But those of you that already have a Dremel, or can afford to buy a used Dremel from a pawn shop, I highly recommend going this route. It makes things a lot easier because the PVC will just get sanded down relatively quick. I do the sanding portion in this video in about 5 minutes, I think, whereas with a metal file it would probably take upwards of 20 minutes, and with a really rough grit sandpaper it would probably take close to an hour. So keep that in mind and try to save some time. Alright, now I've got my Dremel loaded, and the goal of this is to take this adapter and this inner lip right here. I want to shave this down just enough so that I can slide the PVC into it easily, but not so much that the PVC can slide out using vibration. It's still going to be a tight fit, but it's going to be open enough for me to slide the PVC in with some generous pressure instead of making it impossible to do with extreme pressure. Okay, so I start off using a low speed just to make sure that I know how much pressure to apply. And I start off actually going side by side around the circumference of the pipe, but that didn't seem to really do as much of the sanding as I was hoping it would do. So instead, I'm going to recommend that you go in an in and out motion like this, and that way it does help sand a lot faster. And then as you're going, you'll want to turn the adapter so that you're actually making progress around the inner circumference of the adapter. Don't just sand back and forth in the same place. If you look closely, I'm actually spinning the adapter as I go, just to make sure that I am eating away in small sections of the inside. And then once you've done a small ring around, then you're going to want to test it on your PVC pipe and see if you can get it in. If you notice, I am generating a lot of PVC dust from the sanding process, so I definitely recommend that you wear safety glasses and even a breathing mask, just so that you don't accidentally inhale any of these specks. If you're doing it on glass like I am, make sure that you get yourself something to set the adapter on that can catch the Dremel, just in case you slip out of the adapter. That way you don't scratch your glass, because I scratched the glass on my dining table on accident and now I'm pissed. Alright, I think that should be enough. You can see it's really messy. Just get the rest of the dust out, and I'm going to give this a test fit. Looks great. Now I'm going to show you guys. And you can see that I can kind of twist and pull it onto the PVC pipe, and everything's good. Alright, now for this next part, I'm actually going to take the adapter with the pipe already in it, and I'm going to jam it back into the T-joint for the truss stand. The reason why I'm keeping the pipe in here while I'm adding it into the Truss T-joint is because it's a lot easier to try to put it in this way than it is to try to put the adapter in first and then the PVC, just because the adapter adds extra tension, and that may make it to where it feels like it's pretty hard to push the PVC pipe through. And there's my roommate in the background washing dishes. Guys, get yourself a roommate that washes the dishes. Now we're going to go ahead and make sure that our T-joint sits correctly on top of the truss stand. You can see that my PVC is drooping a little bit, so what I'm doing is I'm pushing the PVC back further through the adapter and out the other side, just because PVC is a little bit flexible, and I know that it's going to droop if I leave too much of it out. 5 feet is good. The 5-foot piece of PVC that we are using is great because we can slide the camera anywhere along there, and we have extra pipes sticking out one side in case we need to counterbalance it by drilling a hole in the short side of the PVC on the other side of the T-joint, That way we can attach a hook and then hang something moderately heavy like a backpack that might have a book in it. You can use other objects that are moderately heavy. If you have something laying around, you can use a camel pack, or if you want to get daring, you can use a laptop bag. But for the most part, once it's tensioned down, I don't think you'll need a counterweight, but you'll have the option to in case you really need to. Now I'm just tightening the bolt and the nuts that I'm using to secure the top part of the T-joint. You don't want to over tighten it, especially if your T-joint is made of plastic or another hard material that's not metal, because you can crack it and break it, and then you'll have to get another T-joint, and they're rather expensive. So to keep the costs down and to prevent yourself from having to repeat any steps that you've already done, try to be gentle and don't over tighten. Now that the tightening is done for the T-joint, I'm just moving it out a little bit so I can check to see how much the PVC sticks out, how much it's drooping, and how much the PVC is wobbling. Now I'm just loosening up the stand so I can check to see how high it telescopes. And holy cow, it goes all the way up to my 10-foot ceiling. That's awesome. After bringing it down, I'm checking to see how much the PVC is wobbling and to figure out how and where I'm going to mount this camera. After screwing it around with it enough, I realized that it is drooping and wobbling a bit too much for my liking, so I'm pushing the PVC in just far enough so that I have about 1 foot sticking out the other side. This shortens the long end of the PVC just enough so that it doesn't really droop as much and it doesn't wobble as much, which is great, especially when your camera doesn't have very good stabilization built in. Now at first I tried to mount the camera to the PVC pipe using a piece of double-sided sticky tape from 3M, which holds 10 pounds per square inch, but unfortunately the bottom rubber of the webcam just would not adhere to the double-sided sticky tape, so I decided instead that I was going to use zip ties. I ran out of my extra long zip ties, so I wound up having to use 3 smaller zip ties chained together to make what is kind of a long zip tie. I tightened them just enough so that I could secure the webcam in place, facing straight down, and so that it wouldn't rotate on its own from gravity or the small vibrations that would occur on the PVC pipe. After it was secure, I tested to make sure that I could slide it along the pipe and back again without friction causing it to stay where it was, and everything seemed great, so that's pretty much done. Yeah! All I'm gonna do now is kind of loop this wire from the camera around the PVC pipe. The only reason I'm doing this is to keep the cable out of the way. You'll notice that my cable is too short to allow me to take it all the way down the pole. Most likely yours will be as well, so you will also need a USB extension cable, and I recommend getting a gold-plated one. Read why in the description. Alright, gonna give you guys a close-up of the actual stand. Up the pole to the PVC and the T-joint. How I wrap the connecting USB cable from the camera on. My roommate, whose birthday is today, as she's walking away from the kitchen, not wanting to be filmed. I told her I'd put this in here, because that's the kind of roommate I am. Sorry, not sorry. You can see here the zip ties that I have. And how they're fashioned on. I'm going to clip these off just to keep it clean. Looks kind of ghetto when they're just sticking out like tentacles. And that's done. And that looks good. Alright. And there you have it. Looks good. I just have to use a USB extension cable now, and actually have one attached to the camera that I'm using to record this, so I'm good. I hope this video helped you out. If it did, please like and subscribe. I've got more videos to come. Thanks so much. Coming soon, I'll be making a video on how to make amazing broadcast lighting for under $40 while taking up virtually no space. Subscribe and stay tuned.